Um, Thanks very much for having me. Well, you know what? I forgot the clicker. I'll grab that. Thanks. Yeah, my name's Sujay Tyle. I'm the CEO of Frontier Car Group. We're Berlin-based, but have operations all over the world. We're one of the largest used car buying and selling platforms in several emerging markets, from LATAM, Africa, and Asia. In a nutshell, we launched a little less than 2 years ago. This is my first NOAH. So our first market and operation just started about 20 months ago. Business was founded 25 months ago. A little over 1,100 people around the world. We're going to transact, this year about $300 million worth of cars, and with margins in double digits in most of our countries. We're Berlin-based mostly for obviously the technology talent, the proximity. We've obviously taken a lot of inspiration from the phenomenal things Hakan has done at AUTO1, and but Berlin is also just a very diverse place that has accessibility to the rest of the world. So we spend our core engineering, technology, financial consolidation teams are in Berlin. However, that's about 60, 65 people, with the bulk of the people in emerging markets where we actually do our operations. What we found in emerging markets compared to developed markets was that there's a significant difference in transparency. Consumers have the option of either selling their vehicles on classifieds, where it typically takes 30 to 45 days. There's a high rate of theft of vehicles. Ownership typically, unlike Europe, is transferred with a few pieces of paper rather than an online platform. Or they can sell their car via a car dealer, where, again, as Hakan said, they don't get gouged on price. However, it's not their core forte, and dealers' core forte to sell cars of a different brand. Coupled with this, there's no access to financing for the consumer on their next car, and there's no access to a database like Kelley Blue Book to understand the value of their car. And so customers are in the dark in most emerging markets. On the dealer side, the average dealer in an emerging market is very fragmented. They sell 8 to 9 cars a month compared to 30, 40 cars a month here in Europe, in the US. And the reason for that is lack of floor plan financing. Floor plan financing in one of our typical emerging markets is offered at 44% per year. So if you take floor plan financing, you're not going to make a profit on your vehicle. And so if you can couple the transaction also in emerging markets with access to capital to purchase the vehicle, you can end up A, clipping more margin on the car, and B, expanding the size of the dealer, and C, having the dealer purchase more from your platform, which we saw a lot of opportunity in. So the customer solution is very easy. In 8 emerging markets around the world now, we just launched 3 this summer. So anywhere from Mexico to Nigeria to Indonesia, you can sell your car through us in a 45-minute process. We have several hundred inspection locations throughout these countries. You drive your car in, 15-minute inspection, and 30 minutes later we present you a price on your car, all bank-to-bank transfer, no cash, and we take care of all the paperwork for you. On the dealer side, it's also very simple. Dealers are essentially given access to a platform app. They see this entire swath of vehicles coming through their platform every single day. Unlike AUTO1, we only sell within the country right now. So Mexican dealers can only see cars being sold in Mexico. Indonesian dealers can only see cars being sold in Indonesia. That's going to change over time as we launch 2 more markets, for example, in Latin America, and when we start doing cross-border. But again, 18 months in, we're only inter-country. Dealers can make a price offer on the car. If they win the auction, they can choose 2 options, A, financing or no financing, and I'll get into that in a little bit. Right now, we don't handle logistics. It's a product we're rolling out right now. A dealer has 1 day to pay and pick up the car. In essence, we are the middleman auction house between consumers and dealers. Our product ecosystem is relatively simple. However, the back end is quite complicated, which is generating the database that Marco talked about in his presentation with Hakan. First, on consumers, they make an appointment. Roughly 30% of our consumers don't make an appointment, and that's fine. They just drive into one of our locations. The dealer app obviously has the auction that's running live that shows the entire results from the inspection platform. And then basically the management system, the dealers can manage all of their inventory, where it is, which warehouses they're in, and where they pick it up, and when it's ready to be picked up. Just our locations from all over the world. On the left, Cars 45 is our brand in Nigeria. So you can see that we have different brands per country, usually localized by language. In Mexico, we have a brand called Vende tu Auto, which means sellyourcar.com in Spanish. In Pakistan, Car First. And these are various inspection locations. They're big, small, in malls and parking lots. We're one of Walmart's biggest partners in Latin America, so we have lots of locations throughout Walmart parking lots in Latin America. We're partnered with big malls in Indonesia, so we have stores and malls throughout Indonesia. In Nigeria, we're partnered with a lot of OEMs, and so we have locations in Kia parking lots and Nissan parking lots, etc. We see this business very much in concentric circles. The first concentric circle for us, just like Cox Automotive in the US, is very much just that trade. How can we facilitate trading the car between consumers and dealers? And once we go from consumers to dealers, then how can we start building layers on top of that? And the first natural thing was financing for us. Financing for us is how can you offer first the dealer on the purchasing end access to capital to purchase that car? So if the average dealer in an emerging market has $7,000 in their bank account, how can you empower them to buy 3 cars or 4 cars or 5 cars rather than 2 and wait for them to sell it? B is for the consumer. How can you offer them financing on their next car purchase while they're waiting the 30 minutes in order to get a price offer from us? Another thing that we do already live is we purchase cars from fleets. You have to understand in a place like Nigeria, there's no large auction houses like British Car Auction or Mannheim. And so how Hertz, Avis, Alamo offload 400, 500 cars from their fleet every month is usually piecewise on classifieds. There's a fleet manager sitting in Lagos who lists every single car on Hertz onto their platform on classifieds and hope to sell them individually. We can buy all 400 of those in bulk, and we do that across the world now. Similarly, we're going to be handling logistics. We're going to start delivering the car. We're going to be handling data. We're going to be publishing our data set such that other OEMs can pay subscription pricing to access our Blue Book, which is more accurate than typically what exists in all of the markets. The dealer financing piece, I believe, is the most interesting piece of this business. Dealer financing is something, for example, a majority of our vehicles in Nigeria are dealer financed on the point of purchase. You have to understand that these dealers, again, have no access to capital or it's prohibitively expensive. So what we do is at the point of sale now, a dealer is offered 2 options. A dealer is offered the choice of paying up front. They pay all 100% of the car, which is typically what's happened from launch. Or B, they can put 30% of the car down. And 30% of the car down is their deposit, and they have 30 days to pay the last 70% on the balance sheet. Now that last 70% of the price is obviously a significant amount for the dealer, whereby they're incentivized to sell the car. And the typical dealer actually sells the car within 14 days out of that 30 days. However, they're still paying that month interest, which is locked and fixed. Our interest rates are only for 30 days. At the end of the 30 days, if the car is not sold, we take our commission from the 30% deposit, return the rest, and re-auction the car. A lot of people ask how recovery is done in emerging markets. We actually have created our own white label dealership in a lot of our markets called Cars Bazaar. And this dealer is actually where the car sits for the duration of the time that the car is being financed. And so if at the end of the 30 days the car is not able to be sold, it's easily recoverable. We hold the title, we hold all of the paperwork. And so there has not been a single time that we've lost the car on a car that's been financed. And again, we're doing hundreds and hundreds, thousands and thousands of these every single month. If you look at a lot of PwC reports, both on the consumer side and both on the dealer side, the number 1 hindrance to buying more cars for a dealer is financing. Number 2 is storage of vehicles. Again, the Cars Bazaar, parking those cars physically in a different lot, our lot, rather than dealers, has also helped the dealers significantly. In fact, you have dealers who will buy a car from Abuja in Nigeria that's parked in Lagos. The Lagos car will sit in our lot in Cars Bazaar and be sold to the end consumer without the dealer in Abuja ever having seen, touched, felt the car, only ever having seen it on the mobile app, which is a very powerful value prop for the dealer. Finally, partnerships that have expanded all over the world. Again, I told you, rental car fleets. We work with lots of gas stations around the world. Gas stations typically have a lot of empty space. We put a lot of inspection locations in there. We work with OEMs to do all of their trade-in. Typically, OEMs in emerging markets don't trade in used vehicles, and so we actually handle that on their behalf. Uber, a lot of drivers need partners in order to resell their car and purchase new ones. We're their preferred partner in most of our countries. A few weeks ago, we raised a large round from OLX, which I wanted to highlight from Naspers. And this is very powerful because obviously OLX, as many people know, is one of the largest classifieds businesses in the world and the leading or one of the leading in many emerging markets. And so to monetize a lot of their data and a lot of their listings that are coming through, customers in places like Indonesia or Colombia or Argentina, now when a customer goes to list their car on OLX, have the option of selling instantly via us. So this is a very powerful synergy, not only on the investment side, but also on the partnership side that has yielded a lot of results. And finally, the last slide is that over the last 3 months, we've launched 3 new markets. We've launched India, Colombia, and Argentina. India was done 6 months ago by OLX. We recently joined their team to provide them technology and help and support, and that's been growing significantly. Thank you very much.
Thank you.